All right, we're live. How is everybody doing tonight? Wait for some people to get in here, and then we'll start going over our scheduled topic before we get into the chat stuff. In case you don't know, Raymond, Charlie, what's up? The Milwaukee pipeline event happened today. I was not invited. I'm good. How you doing? And after seeing what they introduced, I'm not really that sad. Been nice to hang out with Brian from How To Automotive and Humble Mechanic, but you know, it is what it is. It's not 3 days off of work for not a lot of product, not a lot of content. So that does kind of suck. Vandy, thoughts on nachos? Nachos are good. I like nachos. Charlie Stone, I saw the new tools. Milwaukee is truly innovative. Yes, but they didn't have a lot of new tools for the automotive sector, which is the big problem for me. And, you know, you got to remember something about going to an event like that. Yes, they pay all your expenses and, you know, which is great. You're just expected to make content on stuff, but you've got a travel day up there. You check into the hotel, they'll have entertainment and stuff like that. Big day of, you know, a lot of presentations that quite honestly don't apply to automotive, because you wind up doing a loop of all the stuff, and a lot of it doesn't apply to us. You know, I don't care about a circular saw. My viewers don't care about a circular saw. Cool part is, you know, hanging out with people I haven't seen in a while, you know, other content creators. I mean, like when I went last time, Brian, Humble Mechanic, Frank Tech, Ford Tech Make You Loco, Motor City Mechanic, you know, hanging out with those guys is really the best part. And then content is added to it. So let me background removal, switch over to here. So this is the media kit. This is the stuff they send content creators. I don't know why it opened in Edge, but it did. So of course, let me move the comments over here. Positivity, what's going on? Charles, what's up? When you get into it, like cool new batteries, you know, more armored, red lithium forge, cool upgrades, you know, cool cycle compatible active cooling system, cool, you know, XC8, and then, you know, a lot of charging systems like that really realistically we're not going to buy. I mean, do we need a 6-bay daisy chain rapid charger that you can, basically it's for contractors so they can have a wall of charged batteries. You know, yeah, the dual bay might be something we'd be interested in. MX Fuel rapid charger, not anything in our industry. Power tools, you know, cool. Power management thing, you know, cool for gardening, you know. And don't get me wrong, I've bought Milwaukee gardening stuff. My blower and my weed eater are Milwaukee, and I paid for them. I didn't buy them. I mean, I didn't get them sent to me by Milwaukee because they won't send me stuff that's not related to my genre. So I don't get that stuff. But here's the automotive section. Fastening and automotive. M12 fuel stubby impact Gen 2. Now, they do have a cool thing about it. When you want to do the drive control, you put the toggle in neutral and you click the thing once, and then it'll be in mode, and you'll be able to change the modes with the trigger, which is kind of cool. We'll see how it does in practice. But you know, more power. You've got the nut busting torque, more power. You've got the reversing thing, protective boot, which I could care less about. I've removed every protective boot off of every tool. You leave it on there for a long time, dirt and grit just gets under there and just does as much damage as not having it. So I don't think it's worth it. You got the M18 magnetic extendable boom light, which has already been, you know, introduced. It was already put out on media. Looks really cool. It looks really bulky as well. So, you know, until I get my hands on it, I don't know. Body shop guys, you got some sanders. And then you've got a M12 auto shop borescope, which seems pretty cool. It's got a 5mm camera, you know, which that's cool. It's got heat sense temperature alert technology. If the where you stick it is too hot, it'll, you know, turn off to protect itself, you know, and it's Bluetooth to share files. So it's pretty cool. But I mean, they didn't even fill up the full section for automotive. And then circular saws, etc., etc., etc. Lots of circular saws. More sanders, you know, paddle switch grinder, bandsaw, overhead, rotaries, and then the MX fuel stuff, which really does not apply to what we do. Turn my background back on real quick. You know, so there's the M12 stubby is really about the only thing that's really cool and new enough for anybody to really care about. The forged battery, Charlotte Stone says the Ford batteries are good on one impact. Raymond says we got the Hanatech oscilloscope for our shop. Our team loves it. That's awesome. Positivity Incarnate, odd question. What would you say are the key factors that build respect and your reputation as a younger mechanic? Biggest things for a young technician is listen. When somebody more experienced than you is telling you what you need to do it that way. And don't. One of the most frustrating thing about teaching young technicians is they don't do the actual legwork before they talk to you or after they talk to you. You know, when a technician goes, oh yeah, you probably need to check for 12 volts on this circuit. And you go, oh yeah, I've got 12 volts, and you didn't actually check it. So do the legwork, check it and go, you know, if you're asking for advice is, this is what I've done. I need a direction. Can you give me some direction? Don't ask for them to fix it for you, but ask for direction. T. Corrales, I'd like to see Milwaukee make half moon and S wrenches. Always like the chrome on the regular wrenches. Looking forward to the new 12.0. My Milwaukee 1-inch extended handle would love that. T. Corrales, that 1-inch gun is my go-to for roadside tire changes, trucks and trailers. Yeah, I bet it is. A lot easier than dragging out 1-inch hose. Darren, I'd like some advice. I'm highly considering changing shops. In my current shop, I was on their express team for 15 or so months, really trying to be an apprentice, but got passed over constantly. Continued. Oof, that price on that borescope is too high. I'd have to have UV light for me to buy that. Eventually got my state inspector's license to prove I was committed, and as a result, I've been thrown into the wolves, not really making much money besides the states. And a little work I can actually do. I feel like I was really, I don't feel like I was really prepared for the line and really need the chance to prepare for what flat rate was about. Currently only able to turn 50 to 60 hours every 2 weeks. Yeah, I think changing shops probably for you would not be a bad idea. Find a shop that's more willing to train you. Don't just change shops to change shops, because if they're going to do the exact same thing to you, it's not going to help you any. Find a shop that's willing to put in the work to train you. But yeah, if they're just throwing you to the wolves, which unfortunately is one of the problems with dealerships, is you get past the they pull you out of the quick lane and they throw you to the wolves and they throw you to flat rate. Thoughts on fuel pressure test kits. Range anywhere from $30 on Amazon to $600 on the tool truck. I will do it this way, because I already know I got Amazon up. Let me size down my camera a little bit. This circuit right here. One of these two right here. Make sure. Oh, that's just the adapter kit. This will do most things. This circuit right here. And then you want to get the adapter kit for other stuff if you run into problems with this hooking up. It all depends on what kind of vehicles you hook into. This is going to be most vehicles, and then this is kind of the weird stuff. Old Fords, etc. Or see if they seize it. Yeah, haven't really had that one. No injection. Or you can go and get this kit, which is it's the Matco kit. The one I actually have the Matco kit. Now, last time I priced it, it was cheaper with Matco. Now, this has a lot of adapters that first kit I showed doesn't have. So you'd have to get the supplemental kit. But this is actually the kit that I have. It's just branded Matco. So either get the circuit and upgrade to the adapters if you need it. But those are my two suggestions for fuel pressure, is the circuit or the lane kit. Hope that helps. All right, let's see. 66 C10, what's up? Yeah, they're all the articulating ones are all made by the same plant over in China. They copied a one of the biggest problem with manufacturing stuff in China as a designer of stuff is they will copy it and resell it. Tanner over at Trained by Tex was a representative for the company that actually designed that stuff. It's a scientific company, but it was all made in China, so they copied it. Renegade, what's up? Darren, this new shop, both at our dealerships, are turning much more hours. I've been told that they were actually put me in with a tech for a bit of time until I've proven that I can handle the line. That's awesome. Later will happen, though, regular interviews with the shop to evaluate my progress, but they seem likely they actually care about my future, whereas my current shop doesn't. I feel like my biggest asset is my state inspection license, which is a big deal for them because I am one of 2 inspectors in an 8-tech shop. I feel a very confident C-Tech, and I have the time to learn, the drive to learn, but I personally feel like I'm not going to learn much in my current shop. Yeah, I would personally, it looks like the other shop, it would be much better for you to grow. Yeah, I'll tune in a bit later to see your advice. Okay, have a good night, Darren. But yeah, I would definitely go with that other shop, considering they're going to give you help. Help is one of the biggest things. It's one of the crappiest things about this industry is, in every other trade, there's some sort of apprentice program in the United States where you're working with somebody that's more experienced with you. They're there to help you, point you in the right direction. And in the automotive industry, it's you go get your education, you kind of sit on the oil change train for a while, and then they just kick you out in the wild and hope you swim on flat rate. Which, as much of an advocate of flat rate as I am, that's asinine that a tech with 6 months in the industry should be on flat rate. Yeah, there's going to be some great natural talent that do really good on flat rate right out of the gate, but the vast majority are going to sink. They're going to drown. So it's just asinine that young techs are thrown to the wolves like that. K. Kovler, do you ever retire tools you use every day, even if they are in good condition, just because they're old? Not just because they're old. Usually it's based on condition. Like my old Ingersoll Rand long barrel air hammer just straight up died one day. Like, just done. It hammered its last hammer. So without a rebuild kit, you know, and it was already getting pretty tired. That's when it got replaced with a snap-on, and then I bought the Matco, and now I dual wield. But usually when I replace a tool, it's because something's wrong with it. Handle's worn out. The teeth are, you know, not as tight as they, you know, teeth not as sharp as they used to be, et cetera, et cetera. It's rarely that I just go, I'm over you. The exception to that is the stuff I get from Milwaukee. Generally, if I was buying it and it worked for me, I wouldn't replace it on, you know, the replacement cycle that Milwaukee runs products on. And I don't recommend anybody does either. As much as I love Milwaukee, if the tool's working for you, just keep using it. The only reason I cycle those kind of tools out is for evaluation purposes. You know, there's a new tool, I got to try it out. And in order to try out a new tool, I got to use it in the shop on a day-to-day basis and test it. And it's just pretty normal operation simply because of being a YouTuber and being sponsored by Milwaukee. Less so how I would do it if I had to buy those tools. They wouldn't get replaced on that cycle. So I better, you know, I'm generally if it works, don't mess with it. So I hope that answered that question. That was a long answer to that, but Paulo, can't stray and listen live tonight. I'll watch later. Paulo, have a good night. Enjoy the replay. Charlie Stone, I just purchased a Milwaukee M18 tire inflator. Feeling pretty good. It's weird when you're a mechanic and can't even put air in a tire, especially your own tires. 6.0 batteries are good. Funny story about that. My wife has my M18 in her car. My daughter has the M12 in her car. Guess what? Who doesn't have one in his truck? And has a extremely slow leak on one of his tires. So yeah, I get that. Got the bundle. That's cool. Renegade Garage had a guy tell me his 1995 Toyota T100 is on the original rear shoes and drums with 598,000 miles on it. LOL. So his rear brakes haven't worked for 590,000 miles? Okay. Because that's the only way that's going to happen. Charlie Stone's dual-wheeled air hammers. 6E10 says I got a 7-year-old Matco cordless ratchet that is old and should be retired, but it never complains. Yeah. Positive Incarnate, I think it's funny to imagine you dual wielding air hammers in a thumbnail. That's why I haven't changed the thumbnail for the live stream. Just because I took that for a thumbnail and I wanted to use it, but I was like, yeah. And then I was like, oh, I'll use this for the live stream. So 313s. I think I left my old job, like you said, and now I'm making what I should and have a 401k. Benefits at my new company, no weekends either. That's awesome. That is awesome. You know, I mean, that's the advantage of changing jobs. The easiest way to get a pay increase in this industry. It's just simply the fact of life is, you know, shop owners that don't want to give you a pay raise or a good pay raise aren't going to. The only way to get pay raises is change jobs then. Positivity Incarnate, also air ratchet versus electric ratchet. I mean, the debate with air over electric is air will always have advantages over electric. A perfect example of that is like a strut. Like if a strut has no load on it, if the nut's not tight, it'll spin the shaft and you'll fry the bushings, the seals in the drive shaft or in the strut itself. At this point, still air ratchets can have more power than electric ratchets. You know, I've yet to have my hand pinned against a frame by a Milwaukee or Snap-on ratchet. I have had that happen with Snap-on air ratchets. But the advantages of not having a cord, especially with a ratchet, is huge. I go back using stubby 3/8 and 1/4 inch air ratchets and, you know, using the crap out of them, you know, and getting weird looks from guys while I was using a 3/8 stubby and not a full size. And I'm like, cause I can get that, whereas you can't with that big old one. But there's advantages and disadvantages, and I think the advantages in most of my workflow, electric makes it more sense. So, Charlie Stone, I'm a GS, did work for the foreman's brother-in-law and offered me $100 or a fuel 1/4 inch electric ratchet. I chose electric ratchet because I don't use my Sunex 1/4 inch sockets ever. Charlie Stone's $200 1/4 inch fuel electric ratchet versus $100. I like tools. Yeah. That works for me, man. I use my 1/4 inch stuff constantly. I mean, it just is stuff that gets used constantly. Sure, I haven't missed anything. Well, I think we're caught up. Oh. Well, what kind of questions we got out there? '66 C10. I'm a big 1/4 inch guy too, but sometimes it goes from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch real quick. Yeah. What sucks is when you don't take that leap to 1/2 inch. When you go, oh, 3/8 will work. Oh, that didn't work. 1/2 inch. But yeah, no, I mean, it's 1/4 inch stuff I do. It's appropriate to use a 1/4 inch ratchet, you know, taking a purge valve bracket off with a 10 millimeter hex. It doesn't make sense for me to pull out a 3/8, ratchet when I can 1/4 inch will do it fine. Charlie Stone, I do C-Tech stuff and occasional B-Tech stuff like Honda 3.5 timing belts, etc. Weighted 19 millimeter sockets are a must. Yes. I have a 3/4 impact from my HD days. Yeah, it's that old. That we used to call the Honda special tool because it would take Honda crank bolts off before those weighted sockets existed. T. Corrales, I have 1/4 inch sets, but rarely touch them. I don't do much interior work. Use small sizes when I'm teaching for a 13. It's always 3/8 drive. Yeah, I mean, personal preference, but, smaller socket usually gets in there easier. But yeah, I mean, my 3/8 stuff goes down to 7 millimeter, I believe. So you can always, use what works for you. That's the thing. As I'm drooling on myself. Mars from Cali, how to quote family and friends for side work. I always say whatever you can afford. I don't have a good answer for that. What it's worth to you for the night, for the dealing with it versus how close you are to your family. I haven't charged for side work in a long time. A very, very long time I haven't charged for side work. Anytime I get roped into doing that kind of stuff, it's usually, buy me a bottle of scotch or bourbon or whatever, I don't care. It's usually not for cash. So I'm not the best person to enlighten that. Raymond Lopez, we got 2 Hannah techs. Cool. We have new female tech starting next week. Good luck. Hopefully she'll work out. 66 C10 strip. Public TV. After 25 years of mechanicking, I finally took his job as a manufacturing position. Now my wife is wondering, what do I do with 25 years worth of tools? I don't recommend selling them unless you really need the money. Just because you've taken a job right now doesn't mean you won't go back to wrenching on cars. I know right now you're burned out, but I don't recommend just selling them off. If you're going to sell them, just go on eBay and list each individual set of tools and see what you get for it. Go on eBay, do a competitive marketing, look at what that tool is selling for, sell it competitively so it sells, and then you pack it up and sell it and send it. But very big pain in the ass. And if you ever decide to go back to wrenching or you want to work on your own stuff, you don't have it anymore, so you got to rebond it. T. Corrales, not to sound like a boomer, but what's with Torx bolts on everything? I work in upstate New York, snow and salt over the years, and every Torx fastener ends up rounding. Patents. Honest answer is patents. They patented a new screw design and sold it to manufacturers as better than what they're using. And Torx for manufacturing actually is better. It's better than Hex. It's better than Phillips. Obviously better than Flathead for manufacturing. Taking it apart isn't really a concern. Yes, no, I have hammered in many a different socket into Torx screws to get them out. I've done the die grinder and just grind the head off. Pretty much done every method of removing a Torx bolt that is stripped out. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. It was a Volkswagen product. But like, trying to remember what the heck it was. But I had to grind like 4 out of the 6 Torx bolts. Like just grind the heads off. Try not to damage the plastic with the support barrel, and then replace them with, I think we replaced them all with hex, because that's what the local Home Depot had in stock. They didn't have Torx bolts. But yeah, it's just all about patents and manufacturing. Charlie Stone, I watched a Milwaukee tool bike guide recently from me, and 1/4 inches for drivability and electrical guys. Well, C-Tex 3/8, Milwaukee Electric Girl, and there's absolutely accurate. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, as a diagnostic guy, I'm going to be taking things like, you know, purge valves off. I'm going to be taking vent valves off. I'm going to be taking crankcase ventilation systems off and replacing them. None of those are high torque needed operations, you know. So Charlie Stone, how is Torx better for manufacturing? How do I explain this? They're less likely to strip going in with because you have to remember, you know, when they assemble a component, it's you know, the fasteners may already be on the component, or maybe on a nail gun type strip, and 9 times out of 10 it's like a NASCAR race. They don't stop with the tool, you know, they run it down till it stops, pick it up, trigger still depressed, go to the next fastener, go to the next fastener, go to the next fastener. And Torx, because of its design, generally goes in and grabs, versus hex, which only has, you know, so many sides, and it will tend to strip the fastener or the tool if it doesn't successfully go in. Whereas Torx generally is going to spin itself into the head of the bolt. That's my understanding of it. I don't do engineering, so that's my best understanding of it. They're always looking for faster, because you have to remember something. When you build tens of thousands of something, having a fastener get damaged on the line will cost tens of thousands of dollars. Because you figure, let's say you're putting an intake on an engine and you strip out a bolt, and you now have to stop the line, take that intake off, put a new intake on it, then restart the line, and then you've got to fix that broken part. So it's all about manufacturing as quickly as possible. Chris Dorbeck, I dropped my truck off at a dealer's for service, first time ever, on Tuesday. Haven't been contacted since. The bar is set low for independent shops to be better, LOL. Didn't even get a smile. Oh, Chris, that's sad. Um, um, I don't know how to say this really well right this second. Service advisors at dealerships are either awesome, great, or just suck balls. Like, I will give a great example. My mother-in-law's Hyundai, you know, we had the engine blowout on it. We took it to the dealership and they replaced the engine under warranty. And honestly, they told us it'd be 6 weeks before we got the car back. We dropped it off on a Monday, got it back on a Wednesday. The original service writer we talked to was on vacation. The second service writer we were talking to was off. So we wound up talking to a third service writer. And they were all really nice. You know, they weren't ugly or, you know, anything like that. They were very, you know, considerate and all that. But like the communication sucked. Like the first guy we talked to, I think it was a guy. When I dropped it off, I said, you know, I talked to this guy, and then all of a sudden we had a woman, which was fine. I don't care if it was a woman. She called and followed up with us, said it was approved, and, you know, and then said it would be 6 weeks. And we were like, okay, free engine though. And then we got a call from her. No, we got a call from the third person on Wednesday and said it was ready. And then tried to upsell us a bunch of stuff. But you know, they do it. It's either they're really good, or they really suck. And the ones that suck, I don't know how their CSI scores are allow them to stay there. But anyway, that was kind of a ranty rant about service writers. T. Corrales, there's one box covers, catwalk plates, the shroud around the intercool and AC condenser, def tanks. They always go from Torx to full circle. It turns a 30-minute job into an hour easy. Oh yeah, no, I've dealt with strip Torx. Believe me. My favorite is when they're already no longer even close to a Torx and you haven't even put a tool on them. Rami Lopez, thank you. I believe she will be good. So far, she has a positive attitude, 15 years of experience. She demonstrates it, and I put on. Okay, cool, awesome. I mean, I don't care about any of that stuff as long as they're good as a technician. Bring it on. Daniel K. What terminal depinning kit do you recommend? See if I can find it real quick. That's the one I have. All right. This is the one I have. Steelman depinning kit. Automotive use only, by the way. There are some douche connectors in here, but not a lot. This is what I've used for years. one of these actually need to replace, but this is what I use. There's plenty of options on the market. Like this kit, I can tell you right now, isn't made by Steelman. It's rebranded. As you can see right there. $123, $28. Same kit. Same handles even. And they really don't give you a good guide in these things anyway. Like there's no, thing like that. So feel free to buy this kit. It's going to be the identical kit to the Steelman. They're going to bend. Get used to it. They're going to bend. Depending on how cruddy the connector is you're taking apart, they're going to bend on you. So just be prepared for that. Fu Man Poo, I need whole body deodorant. I stink. Hey, Old Spice, baby. Renegade Garage, thank you. Torque that like button. Raymond Lopez, I meant thank you. I believe she will be good. So far, she has positive attitude. 15 years experience. I put on a vehicle to diagnose. She passed demonstration. Awesome. Cool. I mean, like I said, I don't care, what body parts you got. You can fix a car. Cool. Charlie Stone talking about damaged Torx. It depends on the situation, the access, etc. You can try extractor type spiral extractors. Sometimes it's just a matter of kind of hammering in the neck size up Torx and getting it to grab that way. Not always possible with like aluminum or plastic intake, stuff like that. Sometimes you can take a center punch and kind of center punch on the side of the Torx, head. And once you break the tension, usually they just unscrew. The biggest thing is you got to break the tension on whatever they're into. Now, the center punch is like a Hail Mary pass. I don't want to drill or die grind this apart. But the two options for dealing with one that you just cannot grip hold of, Volkswagen, is going to be either take a die grinder, go right in the center of it with a ball bit, and just basically die grind until the head kind of pops off. And then make sure there's no bars on, no barbs on it to prevent whatever the component is from coming off. I've had that happen a few times where you kind of get stuck. Or take a drill bit that is the equivalent size to the bolt or right around there, depending on the actual size of the bolt, and drill down the center of the Torx bit and kind of remove it like a rivet. Because once you get to the bolt itself, the head will come loose and then you can remove the component. But yeah, that's pretty much the best way to deal with that. Sharp chisel, that's another way. 9 times out of 10, Chris, when I'm dealing with a stripped Torx, it's not in a good location. Have you seen the new... it's not... Oh, let's go here. yes, we talked about it, the new Milwaukee stubby. I keep going past it. We talked about that earlier. Yes, 550 foot-pounds of nut-busting torque. That's from their media package they sent me this afternoon. T. Corrales went on a road call the other day for Load's refrigerator trailer dead in the loading dock. Didn't have a starter with me, but had a screwdriver and jumped a solenoid with a screwdriver. I used to drive a Ford truck with a manual transmission, and so, parts problems are not a new thing. It was an F-250 and had a 351 M400 engine in it. And yeah, that is a lot of torque, Charlie. And I can't tell you how many times I had the solenoid go bad and, pop the hood, screwdriver, boom, hop in, drive to where you're going, shut it off, click. Frank, you're welcome. Have a good night. Kid was dumbfounded you could use a screwdriver to start a starter. Guy I used to work with, when he does valves on a Honda, he will use a starter button on the starter to crank the engine over to get it to the next set of valves. I've never done that. I like to be a little more precise than that. Stoic Steel, I'm switching from Snap-on to Matco launch for my scanner. I'm fed up with biannual updates and their outrageous prices. Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how much, how expensive Snap-on keeps getting, over and over and over. It's there's really no good justification for buying a Snap-on scan tool anymore. I love their graphing. I still use my Snap-on Edge, Snap-on Verus Edge as a quick scope. It's awesome. I can just grab the leads and go scope something I need to scope. But as a scan tool, I'm not spending the money to update that tool. I don't even think they support it anymore as far as updates, but I could be wrong. It's just it's not worth it. Joel Kallstrom, are you full-time YouTube? No. Do you work in a shop? Yes. Do you still work on cars? Yes. I've explained this before on stream. There was problems that was people knowing where I work causes problems. I was not going to be able to film anyway, so it's not worth me to let people know or talk about where I work. And I'm not going to put, people that have to answer the phone having to deal with some idiot calling to harass me or ask me a scan tool question. Yeah, that's happened, by the way. I've had people call up the old shop and demand to talk to me because they had questions about a scan tool. Not even making that up. And it wasn't fair to the shop or the service advisors that they're having to deal with that. And I've told them basically, unless it's somebody unless they know me, just say no. So anyway, Chris, Snap-on game with Snap-ons better just to replace every few years, unfortunately. See, the problem nowadays is with things like auto auth. If the tool is not updated, you can't log in. Tell me that's not a conspiracy. Because, if your tool's not updated, it won't let you log in and clear codes. So hope you're not doing auto auth cars with Snap-on then. 66010, a guy I work with, is an old school guy from the early 80s, and he uses starter button for getting to top set to center. Yeah, I used to do it all the time. But Hondas, when you're, adjusting valves, I don't know. It doesn't seem a good way to do it to me. Seems an easy way to do it, but I don't like, I don't think it's a good way to do it, in my opinion. I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I've never tried it. So, Stoic Steel, the value to dollar is way out of whack. Yes. Quick Wrench, Tool Junkie, Snap-on losing their minds when it comes to the price. They keep rising. Yeah. I mean, they are just crazy. Raymond Lopez, mechanics lube the Torx first and tap it, then remove the Torx bolt or repeat the process if necessary. Yeah, it doesn't always work when you tap it in and it just rounds completely over. T. Corellis, new guys got to learn. I'm going to do what I can to get you rolling so you can get back to home base where I can then do the actual repair. Told him to leave the reefer on continuous. Don't shut it off. Yeah. My favorite. This story goes back many, many years. And I went to go help a friend, and starter was on its last legs, and battery was about dead. So I got jumper cables on there. I go turn it over, just get that right tap, cranks up. And I'm like, okay, drive it here. Do not shut it off. It's not going to start again. And she drove it 2/3 of the way where I told her to go. And she pulls into a gas station, shuts it off, and it doesn't start again. And I go over there, and this was back in the beeper era, okay? So she had to go to a payphone, message me on my beeper, and then I had to call her, go meet her, try again. It did not. I wound up putting a starter in that parking lot, which sucked. So yeah. You'll be just fine. Charlie Stone, I looked through Snap-on's website. Their torque wrenches, their inline electric drill, and man, I can't think of anything else worth the price. There's some weird specialty tools that will come in handy if you run into those use cases. But for the most part, no. I mean, you know, it's really getting really hard to justify Snap-on prices. I mean, they're just going outrageous. Zach, sorry I joined late. So going back to the topic, do you think it'll be better to buy the new 1/2 inch or the 3/8? I don't know. Better buy. The thing about 1/2 inch versus 3/8 is going to be based on your use case. You know, like if you're like T. Corrales and you're working on trucks and, you know, semis and trailers, 1/2 inch is probably going to be a better bet for you, simply because a lot of the fasteners are going to be bigger than what 3/8 anvil will have available. Automotive, generally 3/8 will do fine. But if you're thinking about taking wheels off with it, or you do a bunch of suspension, or do you do a bunch of underhood, like if you're a steering and suspension guy, I wouldn't even hesitate. 1/2 inch all day long. If I'm doing control arms every day, I'm grabbing the 1/2 inch. If I'm doing alternators and, you know, water pumps, I'd grab the 3/8. Though probably don't use the 3/8 on a water pump. But, you know, an alternator hold down bolt for a, you know, GM truck would be fine. Matt Embry, the monthly subscription for Zeus Plus here in South Dakota is $102, and this with taxes. Yeah. Well, that's $1,200 a month plus $24. So that's $1,224. So it's a chunk of money. Daniel K says, watch out. They will auto renew. Charlie Stone's Autel AutoFix seems really good as scan tools, quarter the price of Snap-on, but a Snap-on tool impressed me today. It had readiness monitors and codes ready and was very fast. That's it. Pretty much any good scan tool will have readiness monitors and code ready. Sometimes, you know, mode 5, they just put it in easy ways to find, but AutoFix and Autel have that feature. C66 C10. Have you ever seen somebody crank the engine over with a tool on a crank put? Alt LOL. Crank an engine over to turn an engine? Yes. To try to start it? No, I'm not that old. Actually, I have seen videos of people hand cranking engines, you know, like Model Ts and stuff. Never actually in person. GIE Auto, have you discussed the M18 impact failure shown on Torque Chest channel? No, I haven't. I haven't seen that video. GIE Auto, what you want to type out what happened with that? I don't know. I'm not familiar with it, so. Joel Kolstrom, how much should a BTEC make per hour at a dealership they've been at for almost 6 years? Pay is hard to just straight up say. You've got demographics of where you're at. Like if you're at a dealership in bumfuck Alabama versus, you know, downtown Atlanta or downtown Houston or New York, it's really hard to say. You know, especially per hour, but a BTEC in almost every area of the country should at least be pulling in $60,000 to $70,000 a year before taxes. And in higher income areas, $10 or $20,000 more than that. Just based on the demographics, you know, I mean, it's not hard to understand, you know, in Atlanta, you can charge $270 an hour, and in middle of nowhere, Alabama, nobody's going to be able to pay that. So, you know, it's just that's just part of the world we work in. Plus, your cost of living is less generally. Tinker also had a 2016 Freightliner have a no start. It was the original starter. No diagnostics all. They just went through a new one into it. Come to find out it didn't start, didn't chase wires, etc. Always nice. Needs a starter. 2016, you know. Don't want to, you know. I have taught this so many times. When you know, if you've diagnosed a bad starter on a vehicle, and I haven't read the rest of the story, make sure the engine turns over. I can't tell you how many times I've had technicians go, yeah, put a new starter in, it just clicks. Go out. I mean, literally, I'll tell this story. I was working at a shop. It was a fleet shop, and he was coming up through to the upper shop. He worked in the lower shop, and I was walking down to the and he's like complaining about Vistion starters. And he's like, oh man, these things are piles of crap and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, you know, the company that makes those remanufactures for Ford, right? And he's like, yeah, this is the third one that won't work. I go down there, grab his 18 millimeter socket, his snap-on ratchet. It's a 5.4 Ford. You need an engine. And, you know, I've had that happen multiple times. And also, important note, cut the belt off if the engine's locked up, just in case there's not an accessory that's locked up. Ran into that one time. Still do not know how that engine did not move, because it was locked up like a mother. And then anyway, cut the belt and actually turned over. But it acted like the engine was 100% locked up. Stoic seems like Snap-on is trying to market to the shop owner, not the individual techs that work there. That's been their thing for a long time. And honestly, as it should be, shops should be buying the scan tools. Not the way it works, but that's the way it should be. SG Pro, have you seen Cornwell double box end long wrenches? My 14 mil really frustrating me. It's too small for most 14 millimeter bolts. I use my Snap-on wrenches on them. They slip right on. Dude, get it warranted. If it ain't built right, it ain't built right. Barry Everson. How you doing, Barry? Just saw you were live. How are you? I'm chilling in Atlanta for factory training. Awesome. Thinking about going to grab some Gino's Pizza. The one on Piedmont. Their buffalo pizza is my favorite. T. Corral has come to find out after chasing the wires and ohming out wires and voltages, found to have an internal short in the CPC swap. CPC truck fired right up. Who'd have thunk it? LOL. Holy Sauce Streams, 18 volt 3/8 drive monster stubby cordless impact wrench, tool only green, CT. It's a Snap-on one, I believe. JWC Tech, new stubby is going to be a beast. Yeah, So I like how you change modes by moving the switch to the middle and pull the trigger for which mode you want. 550 foot-pounds. Yeah. Chris, so what's the deal with updates on scan tools? Generally, it's just for keeping up with new cars that come out or that actually stop working if you don't get the update. Depends on the manufacturer of the scan tool, depends on other factors. Like, for instance, if like Chrysler or Nissan, if you have to log into auto auth, which is a security authorization site that will not let you get into 18 or newer Chrysler products or stylists or whatever the hell you call it, Fiat, and is it 2020 Nissans and up or something like that. Basically, it's a security firewall. If you don't update, it will not let you log in and clear codes. Some scan tool manufacturers, Autel, will lock you out of some features of certain brands, but they never actually just turn off the tool unless it's very niche. Like Matco used to have these kind of rental tools where you would pay for use of a brand for a certain length of time. But other than that, you lose some functionality, but that's about it. Mostly because that functionality is linked to online servers, is what I understand anyway. Brian McFarland, howdy ho. Chris Dorback, got to go at 9 to watch my dude go ham on live TV against Orange Dude. You talking about the dude with dementia? I mean, it's going to be a circus no matter what, but you know. Holy Sauce streams, are you still in the military? I have never been in the military. I've never been in the military ever in my life. Updates are worth the money, but you can buy a new one for about the cost of 3 or 4 updates. Yeah. 60-60-10, can you still use a percentage per shop hour, such as 20% with the hour later at the shop to figure out what you should earn as a qualified tech? You know, to some extent, you know, but the problem is a lot of shops now use varying labor rates. So what labor rate do you go on? The one they do diagnostics on, or the one they do brakes on, or the one they do oil changes on? GIE Auto, as I recall, it was the Shorty 3/8. Apparently the ring gear teeth were breaking off. He disassembled the tool and found the components are of good quality. His best guess was a thing ring gear. I'd go look, but I don't want to miss any of your rants. Yeah, the one on Piedmont Berry. The buffalo chicken pizza is really good. Stoic Steel, I think the 2024 Fords are using auto auth. Don't quote me on that though. Probably. I mean, it's just everybody's going to that, logging into clear codes. It just drives me nuts because it does absolutely nothing but is a pain in the ass for those that actually fix cars. You know, look at how you bypass it with, you know, Chrysler products. You go behind the dash, disconnect the connector, and you plug in. Do you think thieves aren't going to do that? It's just crazy. Oh. All right, so kind of curious on that. It's not coming up with security gateway, so I'm not going to worry about it. All right. How you been doing, Barry? Your activity. So what other any other questions we got going on that we want answered? I'd go look, but alrighty then. I guess since we kind of answered everybody's questions, I guess we're gonna. Raymond Lopez, I think I have good experience with Capri tools. So, GIE Auto, are you in a fleet environment now? No, I'm not in a fleet. I've worked in a fleet shop, but I'm not currently. Technically, it wasn't a fleet shop. It was a shop that worked on fleet cars and trucks and vans and Brian McFarland, I see a lot of Harbor Freight commercials on lately. Sounds like they're making a big push. Yeah, I mean, they seem like they're going after Snap-on hard. Yeah, I have seen a lot of Harbor Freight commercials. Barry Stevenson says, well, I guess I'm grabbing some buffalo chicken pizza tonight. I've been good, just working to sleep. Left Key after 14 years, moved over to Mitsubishi Easy Vehicles. Cool, Barry. Good. I'll make notes of questions throughout the next week. Okay, cool, Charlie. But I guess since there's really no more questions, I'm gonna get out of here and go smoke a cigar and go to bed. Sorry, my type is not good. Raymond, it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, chances are you're typing on your phone, so fat fingering a phone or talking, and I do my best to read, because trust me, I know some people are on keyboards and type horribly, so it's fine. Drew Hammond, if you were doing independent work, would you charge flat rate on semis? I mean, billing and paying is two very different things. I mean, generally, I'd charge what the job's worth on a semi. So yeah. Brian McFarland, I inherited a tiny 1/4-inch snap-on ratchet. Being snap-on, will it take a good bit of torque? If it's very old, it's going to be a very coarse tooth, which they're quite strong. GIE Auto, 10-minute mark to the professional rants. Good night. Yeah. Catch you next time. Yeah, guys, I appreciate everybody stopping by. Thanks so much. As always, Raymond Lopez, our shop not getting tool trucks no more. Yeah, man, it's a hard business to stay into. Tool trucks, it's really hard business if you're not in a good area. You know, it's not the wonder business that most people think it is. So, you know, Amazon makes a really good tool truck. So I appreciate it, guys. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master. Hour and 21 minutes.